pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of members, please.
Trustee Trombley.
Here.
Trustee Malinsky.
Here.
Trustee Connor.
Here.
Trustee
Here.
Herzog.
Here.
Mayor McFetrich.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 10th, 2024 meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any corrections? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 17th, 2024 meeting?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Presentation of petitions, communications, and general question period for members of the community. We do have a public hearing scheduled in about 15 minutes. But if anyone in this group would also have anything else to say outside of the public hearing, this would be your time to bring up anything else that you might want to say.
Mine's just, I'll read this during the public hearing, I guess.
Right, okay. All right. Going down the agenda, the report from the code enforcement officer is not available at this time. I will get that to you in the next few days. Here's my report. Somewhere in here. Good evening and welcome to the Village of Champlain July Board meeting. Let's begin with an update on the water line replacement project. The work on South Street is continuing and should be completed in another week or so. I thank the residents on that street for their patience. In addition, because the staging area for this project is at the water tank on Prospect Street, there will continue to be heavy equipment going up and down that street for materials. Again, thank you for your understanding as this much-needed project gets completed. There are a number of events taking place this month in the village. The first concert of the season is the Straw Hatters, who will perform on Wednesday, this Wednesday, July 10th, at 6 p.m. in Earl Park on River Street. We are watching the weather carefully. It may get rained out, but we will post that on our Facebook page should that happen. On July 21st, Taylor LaValle will be singing. There will be food trucks at both of those concerts. Remember to bring a chair and come enjoy some beautiful, great music in a beautiful setting. So Nikki, I'll let you know for that food truck.
Yeah.
Oh, did they? Yeah, it doesn't look good, but maybe it'll change. Also, the Champlain Farmers Market will start in mid-July, specifically, I think it's this Saturday, the 13th. From 9 to noon in Paquette Park. Am I right on that, too? Please support our local farmers by purchasing some healthy local produce. I would remind you that we do have a disc golf course in the village. We have access to the Northern Tier Rec Trail, a boat launch where you can paddle on the Great Chazy River, all the way to the lake if you have the time and energy. You can even store your kayak on the rack on River Street if you want. Contact the office to sign up for the kayak storage rack. I would also offer thanks to all of the village employees who work so hard to make this village a healthy and attractive place to live. And I would ask everyone to please slow down on the roads and not toss litter on the ground to help in the effort of keeping Champlain a safe and pretty place to reside. I would also like to make a clarification regarding an article which appeared in the Press Republican at the end of May. This was reporting on a panel discussion entitled Women in Politics. In it, I was quoted as saying that when I go to some meetings, either county, town of Champlain, other towns in the county, or the village of Rouse's Point, there is still sometimes a subtle difference in treatment due to gender. This comment was in no way pointed to anyone in particular. I have the good fortune to work with many, many Class Act men in the local area. Anyone who is claiming that I was making a specific comment about the Village of Rouse's Point mayor or the Town of Champlain supervisor is mistaken. All right. Report from the trustees. Kim?
Okay, so, the EDU assessment memo is done. It was emailed to everyone, prior to this meeting. I'm sure you haven't seen it yet. So we did have quite a few changes. The EDU final count, the village, whoops, I have to change a word. Decreased from 625 to 617. So due to different changes in status of some properties, we did drop from 625 to 617. I am going to be working with the tax assessor for next year. He's going to sit with me and figure out if there's an easier way to go through this tax roll. You know, possibly sending it to me as an Excel document that I can go through and make it match, you know, the tax roll, match what we already have. So, quite a few properties unfortunately closed, but in their wake, other properties opened. We do still have one vacant commercial property, the Empire Buffet. They do still have, an EDU count, but it is lower than when they were using water. So, we had five businesses that decreased their peak usage. 4 of them because they closed. But we also had 2 businesses that increased their usage and 2 businesses stayed the same. So that is our count for the year. So we're down. So unfortunately, on the flip side of that, you know, the towns, that affects the towns
Right.
side of it. So hopefully now that this is done and when everybody gets a chance to review it, I try to lay this out as clear as possible, but if anybody has any questions, you can certainly give me a call and I'll be more than happy to go over it with you. I wanted to thank Robert for taking his time to meet with the water board last Wednesday. He gave us a really in-depth tour of the plant. And I will say the plant is extremely clean and tidy. It looks very, very nice. And I have to say this, that is actually the very first time I've been to the water plant. So, it's a very impressive operation to see it. Everything is well labeled. He has a very in-depth knowledge of what he's doing. And the board members were really happy to tour it. I know none of them had seen it before. And now that the EDU report is done, that's gonna be part of the report, I will now start working on the actual report. So hopefully having that, the deadline is October. This EDU report is to me, the hardest part of it, because it takes so much time, so we will be working on the report.
Thanks for all that work, Kim.
You're welcome.
I know it takes a lot of time and a lot of studying.
I look forward to getting my dining room back. It's the portable office.
Nikki?
Okay, so I do have a few things tonight.
Okay, great.
I am starting up a volleyball club for grades 5 through 12 for girls, because there's nothing younger than 7th grade for them to see how the game is played, get in some practice, and learn as a team. So I'm going to hold that on Wednesdays at 6 to 7:30 from this Wednesday, the 10th, until August 14th, middle of the month. Weather permitting, obviously. I have invited a past volleyball coach to come and help, maybe give the girls some pointers, especially to those who haven't played before. I do have a lot of interest of our local middle school, high school teams, so hopefully we'll have a good crowd. I'm doing a few things with the library lately. We are looking for a couple volunteers, maybe high school students who are looking to do community service. We have yard work that often needs some branches, really. The trees are always dropping branches, so we need some of that done, some weeding. A couple little things that some of our handymen can't get to often, so it'd be nice to have, you know, a couple young people come by and do that for us. I'm also looking for some people who may have a trade or a hobby that they would like to talk to or work with children, and so I can set up some events at the library. So anyone with artists, a job, a trade, a craft, health and wellness. I did reach out to a retired beekeeper. We had her come to the meeting house a couple years ago, so I'm trying to get her to come to the library. I've also reached out to the fish and wildlife inspector at the border. She's come in the past before, great presentation, so I'd like to invite her again. So if anyone has any ideas or anyone that may, even the gardener. I mean, our budget is pretty low, so we're trying to look for something that's, you know, we're able to fund or for free. This coming Sunday at 9 a.m. I am holding a Walk to Connect, so it's probably our first one this year. And everyone is invited, all ages, and we are meeting at the softball field at the high school. And we'll walk the trail between 276 and Prospect Street. And while we do that, I'm gonna talk a little bit about geocaching, because there are 3 hidden right on that trail in that small path. So I think connecting both of those activities together will be fun. So that's 9 a.m. on Sunday. That's great.
Awesome. Lots of good things. Chuck?
Well, just want to, the community garden is going well. It's been well recepted, and maybe next year we can add a few more beds to allow other people take advantage of it. They're all doing well as compared to what they were in the past when people had gardens in the ground, and that area looks so much nicer. I'm really glad to see that that's being taken care of. I've been following pretty closely the South Street progress of the water project. It's going well, maybe not as fast as I'd like to see it, but you know, they're doing a good job as far as picking up and cleaning up after themselves. Other than that, not too much more.
Thank you. Joel?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Well, I would,
Janet?
oh, yes.
Before we go into the public,
Yeah.
can I just say 2 more things?
Yes, of
that-
course.
That I don't wanna be remiss on. I need to thank Mary and Juanita for all of the work that they do, providing the reports to me, and especially to Mary, who was answering all of my last minute questions from yesterday, so I could get my report done tonight. And on the water project on South Street, if the message could be passed along to the contractors, they have been excellent about letting the school buses through and directing us, because some of those mornings have been a little snug getting through there with their equipment, but you know, they are very good about either stopping what they're doing or making sure that they're pulling in their equipment so that the buses, because there's like 3 or 4 buses that go down there in the morning. So they've been really good about that, so
That's
that
good
could
to
be
hear.
passed on. Because summer school starts tomorrow, so
Oh,
there'll
yeah, that's
be
right.
more buses.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, they have been great to work with.
I'm just gonna, can I ask a quick question? EDU, what does that stand for? Is that estimated?
Equivalent dwelling unit,
Okay, and that's water?
yes,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
just water.
All right, so I would like a motion to close the regular meeting
So moved.
in a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Fine.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And a motion to open the public hearing on the dog law.
So
In a second.
Section.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. So we are now in a public hearing to hear from the public about the local law for the dog law. There are some rules that I'm just going to read. These are just guidelines for public comment that I would like to express first. The public may speak only during the meeting's public comment period and at any time a majority of the board allows. Individuals wishing to speak during the public comment period must sign in. I'm assuming everyone signed in. Speakers must be recognized. Speakers must step to the front of the room, otherwise, in other words, you need to be on camera. Speakers must give their name, address, and organization, if any. Speakers must limit their remarks to 5 minutes. Speakers may not yield any remaining time they may have to another speaker. Board members may, with the permission of the mayor, interrupt a speaker during their remarks, but only for the purpose of clarification or information. All remarks must be addressed to the board as a body and not to individual board members. Speakers must observe the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. Interested parties or their representatives may also address the board by written communication. All right, so this is a public hearing. Don't know who wants to go first.
I can go. Where should
Okay.
I stand?
I think if you stand right here, like just in front
Would
of
it be okay if I stood behind them, so I'm not like, that feels weird, to face you?
How about you move that chair and just stand there? I think you'll be on camera.
Here, it's good?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. My name is Jennifer Jewett and I live in Champlain and right across the street. Name one single animal besides dogs that Americans chain up to make sure they stay in one place. You can't. What's worse is that humans chain dogs with weighted chains and tow straps and treat them like prisoners. Dogs become entangled, unable to reach their water, bored, then frustrated, and in some cases they turn aggressive and become a threat to unsuspecting people passing by. Children can approach chained, neglected dogs and get attacked, not realizing the dog may be aggressive. The dog becomes a public safety threat. If all you want to do is chain a dog outside 24/7 and treat it like a lawn ornament, don't have a dog. It's as simple as that. We don't have a huge problem with 24/7 tethering in Clinton County, but there are still dogs throughout the county that spend their lives on a chain. Prior to tether laws like the Champlain Village Board has drafted, it was 100% legal to leave a dog chained up in New York State 24/7, 365, as long as the dog had food, shelter, shade, and water, making it legal to neglect a dog and allow it to suffer endlessly on a chain. Dogs are essentially left for dead to either freeze to death or suffer until they die of heat stroke. The husky in Moors did in fact die after 11 years on a chain, spending the majority of its life tied up approximately 50 yards from the owner's trailer. We received confirmation from the Sheriff's Department through a FOIL request. Daisy was declared 100% healthy just 3 months ago by the DCO, Town Supervisor, Sheriff's Department, and veterinarian, yet she died on an 80-degree day chained to her doghouse. We were unable to save Daisy, who never experienced any sort of kindness, love, or life. Prior to January, when I called in a cold weather complaint, she had never stepped foot inside a house in her life. Thank you again for drafting a law like this, and thank you board members for having a heart, thinking ahead, and realizing it's not only inhumane to chain a dog 24/7, but that the dog does become a public safety threat. I am a Village of Champlain resident, and I and many others support this law wholeheartedly. Anyone who does not support the law has not done their research and does not realize how important laws like these have become across the United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
There we go. Thomas Trombley, 22 Butternut Street, Champlain. I'm here for the public hearing just to comment on the tethering law. As you're aware, there's a lot of, the town board is interested in either developing a law or hopefully following with the county if we're looking at a county-wide law. And I'm not sure what we're gonna do at this point based on where the county sits. The only thing I wanted to comment on board is that under extreme weather conditions, I think you should have temperatures to guide in order to enforce. And I'm leaning towards when we do develop one is probably using temperatures instead of times. That's the only area that I find is difficult to try to get enforcement in regards to determining what, 8 cumulative hours is of a 24-hour period. Hopefully this is a good test. I'm glad you are adopting this. And we'll get some sort of a trial for the rest of us to work with and see how it pans out. So I'm not here to say I'm against anything. I mean, those are the two suggestions I want to put out there. But I think 2 week areas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments?
I just want to make a simple statement. My name is Tony Giletti. I just believe that you can judge a person's character by the way they treat animals. And dogs, of course, are pack animals. That's why they're so loyal to us. They want to be with people or be with the pack. And no dog should be tied up and just maybe, even if they were fed every night and watered, it's still out there in weather, 24/7. It's just not humane. And I just think you can't trust anybody that's not good to animals. So thank you for considering the tether law. She agrees with both of us. That's her statement.
All right, if there are no other comments from the public, we can have a motion to close the public.
Can I make a statement?
Yes?
So I just wanted to clarify something. So when this law was being drafted, I voted no. When we talked about it again, I voted no. And I want people to know why I voted that way. It's not that I'm not in favor of a tethering law. I just felt that we were rushing into it a little bit faster, and I would have liked to have seen what the county was going to do first before we end up having all these different laws. That it might have been more cohesive if we had one law. So I just wanted to put that out there. I mean, people have seen me on camera voting no on this, and and it's not that I am against the tether law whatsoever. I just wanted people to know why I voted the way I voted.
Thanks, Kim.
Can I say something?
That's up to the.
Well, it's not-
I see, we're done, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not
no, I
listening.
mean, you're allowed to, but it's not a give and take between you
Oh.
and the board. So if you
Mhm, I
wanted to
gotcha.
add something to your statement, you could, but it's
Just
not.
something what she just said.
Yeah, it's not really a give and take between the
Yeah,
board.
I mean, nothing against her, I'm just.
I mean, if you wanna add one thing to
Add-
your statement,
okay, well-
that's fine.
I would consider passing this law and not waiting for the, state or county, because that way you'll have something in progress, and then if they do pass the law, just go by, change your law to their law, be a simple step for you, I would think. Or incorporate it, you know?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. All right, may I have a motion to go out of the public hearing, please?
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, and a motion to go back into our regular session.
so
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries, we're back in regular session. So, according to our agenda, the discussion, the board discussion on this dog law, which is more than just a tether law, is at the end of the meeting, but I think that maybe we'll just, if the board agrees, we'll just move it up in the agenda. Everyone okay with that? All right, so what I'm going to do is get a motion on the floor so that we can discuss it. So may I have a motion to, address the dog law, the dog control law? And a second?
second.
All right, so now the board may discuss it. keep in mind that I know the tether word has become a really hot topic, I guess. But, in fact, we are working on, changing a village dog code from 1984. So we have not addressed dog control in 40 years in this village. And we did attach some tether rules and definitions to this, but we knew that our dog control law needed attention, and we knew that the town had already had updated theirs, so we meshed things together. I just want the public to understand that it's more than just a tether law. All right, I'll open it up to the board.
Well, I'm in favor of the tether law that we adopted, or are gonna adopt. But, like we said, if the county or town does adopt a law, which they may or may not, it's not a simple thing just to add it to our law. It'll take a little while to do that, just clarification on that point. But I think not knowing what the town or the county is doing in the future, I think we need to adopt that now for the village. That's it.
Also the cost of what it costs us to do laws and change laws. It's not, it's taxpayers' money.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's also another thing that, when, if the county does do something, and it's not just a simple thing, well, just go ahead and change your law. It's lawyers' fees and things like that too, so. Those are always things that we need to keep in mind, being, fiducially responsible to the village and the residents.
Anyone else?
No, I actually completely agree with what Tom said. I never even thought about any sort of like specificity on temperatures of like defining what is like the weather conditions that, we're hoping to keep dogs out of. Like obviously, hopefully 20 below zero would fall into the category of extreme weather conditions, but if it's not explicitly stated, then I'm sure you can make an argument. Which, that draws into the question of like, when we talk about changing a law, what are the things that go through that? Is that like opening up another public hearing to be able to adopt it, or once it's put into place?
You can amend a law.
Okay.
It would be a public hearing, but
Okay.
yes, you can amend a law.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do address weather, but we don't address specific temperature.
Yeah, I think, because I think that's, like an extremely relevant point. I mean, you could have a person or a dog out in the, 20 below zero weather for 20 minutes, and that's enough to, depending on the breed and the type of dog. Husky maybe not so much, but a Chihuahua is a completely different thing. So yeah, I think that's a very reasonable point. It's not even something I even thought of.
So I could read that section out loud and see if we
Yeah,
can
I
have
think
the
that would be
discussion.
helpful. Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
No dog shall be left outdoors during extreme weather conditions such as snow or ice storms, thunderstorms, or during extreme cold or heat, or during a weather alert. And the weather alert is in the definition. National Weather Service warning, watch, or advisory issued by local, state, or federal authority. So it doesn't say specifically like, I don't know, I'll just make this up, like below 10 degrees or above 80 degrees. It doesn't have a specific.
And this is just me thinking, but like the intent of the law, the way I foresee it is like not being an extremely restrictive law, at least in the the widespread enforcement of it. I don't think that the issue of tethering is as extensive as one might think. I mean, I don't know that we have numbers of dogs that are tethered within the village, but I don't see it as like a widespread, pervasive issue, and I don't know that there are many instances of it within the village. With that being said, I still think it's important that there is a restriction, or at least some sort of writing that addresses it. And I think the fact that it's relatively, broadly speaking, it can be interpreted on a case-to-case basis. So I mean, yes,
It
frigid,
was pretty
frigid,
specific on the
yes,
prohibitions.
frigid weather, there's, you know, again, I think that's something that, like, if someone were to be called into question, that discussion would happen in that moment of, you know, does this qualify as frigid weather or those things? But maybe I'm wrong, I don't know what other people think about. I don't know.
Is that listed in the Article 26 temperatures
I-
or neglect or anything?
Yeah, I have that here somewhere, but I don't know if I can find that quickly. I guess, I mean, the question is that does the board wanna add a temperature, a cold and a hot temperature, or is that going to make it harder to enforce, like, oh, it really wasn't 85, it was only 83?
Well, is it-
I don't know.
Is it gonna make it any harder to enforce than trying to nail down that dog was actually tethered for 4.5 hours?
I mean, personally, I would not give up the 4, I see them as separate, I wouldn't give up the,
No, but that's not my point. My point is it going to be any harder to enforce or easier to enforce than the other one? I'm not saying take the other one out.
Okay.
My point is the enforcement factor. Yes, you say 85 degrees, well, it was really only 84.5.
mhm.
You're splitting hairs.
It's
You're
tough,
gonna be
yeah.
splitting hairs on how long the dog was tied. So, I mean, we're gonna be the test people on this, so.
Yeah, well,
There's gonna be a lot of
you know,
scenarios.
it's up to the board, I
100%.
mean, if you want to put in some temperatures, we can do that.
I don't think that it's a bad idea to have temperatures in there. I mean, and if you're gonna go that far and reopen this, put in wind chill factors.
Mhm.
Because it can be 30
Well, I think
degrees,
those
which,
also could fall under the weather alerts though. Don't they normally, when they have weather alerts, they talk about wind chill, dangerous wind chill of whatever, and that's a weather alert, so it's automatically covered.
okay.
High heat, yeah.
And I'm thinking heat would be the same thing.
Yeah.
Chuck, what do you think? Not to put you on the spot.
Well, I don't know if it's a bad idea, but I'm just, you know, temperature one place could be different than temperature in another place. The wind chill in one part of the village could be different in another, I mean, could be totally different. I mean, I've seen snow, you know, on one street and then not snow on another street in the village. And same way with weather, it's all area dependent, so.
So how are you gonna enforce that then? That's, well, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate.
No,
We're saying-
I'm trying to understand what you said, how you're going to enforce what? A temperature? He's talking about temperature.
Yeah, I'm
So-
talking about temperature. And-
Well, that's what I mean, if you put in a temperature, which I think the temperatures are a good idea.
Okay,
But again, to me, it's going to be the same enforcement issues of, well, it wasn't 85 degrees, it was really only 84.5. Or the dog wasn't tied out for 4 hours consecutively, the dog was only out for 3 hours. To me, there's still gonna be enforcement issues. I think that the more that you're gonna put in there to be able to enforce this, the better. If we're gonna do this, then make it so that it's truly enforceable.
But you're saying you're in favor of the temperatures?
I am.
Okay, okay. How do the rest of you feel?
Yeah,
I think it defines your extreme weather.
yeah, I
You
think
think
it's.
the extreme
it's-
weather defines it?
Well, I think
Adding
that's
a tent.
something that should be. I think that's something that should be decided on an individual basis, and if it gets to a point where it's enforced and the person is brought to court, that discussion happens in court, and it's, you know, up to the judge to be able to decide what qualifies as frigid weather or a thunderstorm or an X and a Y and a Z. That's my opinion. I think we've set the guidelines of what the law is, what the intent of the law is to stop people from having dogs tethered out for long periods of time and having them tethered in unsafe conditions. I think, at least in my view, and it's a very limited restriction on people's, you know, ability to tie their dogs out or to have dogs or to, you know, safely keep dogs. Really what we're trying to do is keep people safe. There are people who walk in the village frequently, but this is a walkable village, Streets USA. People are walking around. We want people to be able to walk around by themselves, with dogs, kids, elderly people. And again, I think that there are very few, if any, people that would fall into, you know, this sort of restriction or would have any sort of, would be in any violation of this law, but I still think that it should be there, and I think it's reasonable. Yeah, and I think it's for the courts to decide what qualifies under those stipulations of what meets the weather. Because yeah, when you talk about the temperature, I mean, you can run down that, you know, a million different ways. Well, you know, which meteorology group are you using? Are you using it on your iPhone? Are you doing this? Oh, well, how are you going to say that it's today? Are you taking a screenshot? Do I have to submit that in evidence? I find that we state what the weather conditions are that we're trying to restrict and keep the dogs out of, and then it's up to the court to be able to decide.
So I just want to summarize. So you're saying that you think as written is good enough?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think, you know, what's the extreme temperature for one dog might not be for another dog. I mean, husky or whatever, I mean, they're used to cold weather, they can be out in the weather as compared to some small little dog that doesn't have the, I don't know how to put this,
Fur?
well, fur, the skin, you know,
Body mass.
whatever. I mean, what's extreme temperature one dog isn't necessary for another. Heat could be the same way. I mean, I would never keep a dog out when it's extreme weather either way. And I wouldn't leave it tethered by itself. But
Yeah, so you're,
yeah,
you're saying this verbiage is,
I think
Good.
that verbiage will suffice for what we need to do.
and Nikki, you feel that too?
Well, yeah.
I'm just trying to see if we're ready to
Yeah,
change
and I
something or if
also
we're.
just wanna say too, in support of everyone, especially Kim, it's very brave to be able to stand up and vote against something that everyone else is in agreement with, and that you don't fully support, and she's completely right to do that, and I also think it has nothing to do with having a heart or, you know, having compassion. I know that Kim is a great dog owner. She cares about dogs. She wants to be a good dog owner. Everyone does. But, you know, it's not as simple as, you know, having a heart. So kudos to Kim for saying no when she believes it.
Yeah,
You know, it
yeah,
can be
absolutely.
not
I
fun.
agree.
It's never fun to be able to be the person who's running upstream. So, you know, no hard feelings. However the boat goes, that's my opinion.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind adding the temperatures in. I'm not quite sure what they would be.
Right.
And Chuck's point about different breeds, I mean, my dog goes out, she loves it when it's cold, not hot so much. But I don't know what I would set them at.
It's the same if you have a big tree where the dog goes out in the summer.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a lot
conditions.
cooler than out in the sun.
Yeah, so,
And when we talked about weather and permitting, I think about school. I mean, sometimes when it's extreme weather, the nurses will put out information that we can look at and we make a decision on our own if they go outside or not, unless there's an advisory.
mhm.
You know, that's definitely not a time to go out. But it's a day by day, case by case situation.
So what's the board's wish, to go ahead with as stated now? In terms of the temperature?
I think, as we proposed previously, continue with that law.
All right?
Yeah,
So
I'm ready to put it to a vote.
Yeah, so we have a motion on the floor to adopt this dog control, local law number 3. Yes, local law number 3. Does anyone have anything else they want to add?
I just wanna welcome everybody's opinion, and, you know, it's always nice to have different opinions and information. That's why there's a board of 5, not 1. So,
And I think you're seeing real local government at its best. You know, we're sharing ideas, we're trying to figure this out, we represent the 1,200 people here, we really wanna do what's right for the community, and, you know, you can see it's not easy. You know, we see pros and cons, and I really think it's local government at its best. So we have a motion on the floor, I think we should do a roll call vote.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
trustee Connor,
aye.
trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you for
So you
coming.
guys just passed them?
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you for coming.
thank you.
Thank you for expressing yourselves. You know, it's tough.
Mhm.
It's tough, and it's not the only hard thing that we deal with or will deal with, but having citizens come in and tell us how they feel, that really is helpful. We don't wanna operate in this little, just this little group here. We need to hear from people. So I thank you all, and I thank the board. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm gonna leave. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
I didn't know, look at all the cars.
Need a
They
drink.
slipped in my eye, I didn't know if they're just saying, you know, that they were here.
Okay. I believe we are on the report from the clerk treasurer.
Okay, we did a water reading last month, and I neglected to. The water was 70,984.25. And sewer was 67,193.55.
How does that compare to previous?
It's been running pretty average, you know, sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down a little, but
Yeah.
it's hard.
It's It's hard to get new users, I mean, hard to sell more
You know,
water.
this next one will probably be up, people are watering gardens,
Water gardens, washing cars, all that.
pools, filling pools.
College kids are home taking showers.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until they run out of hot
Done my
water.
laundry.
Okay, we have additional invoices for the warrant, but I just got an additional one from Mike, which is Peak Motors. The bill for Peak Motors was $7,111.50, which was for a pump for the main lift station. So the additional invoices are $14,093.97 for a total warrant of $27,313.36.
We have a motion to approve the payment of the warrant with the additional invoices and the addition to the addition.
So moved.
Second.
Right. Any questions? I haven't compared the NYSEG bills recently, you know how I did that a couple of years ago? I wonder if they're off. I mean, if they're
I'll
a
look
lot.
in my I was keeping track of them for a long time, you know, on that spreadsheet.
Yes,
Let me, see how far I am in those. It's,
they always look high, but
yeah, well, the one additional invoice for the, which one is it? Oh, for the Constellation, no, not the Constellation one, it's, yeah,
It was Constellation.
Constellation one for, 25-24, well, that's $800 more because when it was added last month, instead of 1,900, it was listed $1,096. So transpose the figures, so, and also, we noticed on our garage bill that we had a big sum for solar.
It's like a service fee they charge.
Yeah, they charge you so
Service
much
fee.
and then we get very little credits. Anyway, so, I have called and canceled the solar for the garage and for Meadow Lane. And the question was, why are you canceling? I just said that the fees are astronomical, they weren't feasible for us as we use taxpayers' money to pay them.
yeah, we have to be responsible.
But unfortunately, it's, well, she told me that it's you have to give them 90-day notice, so we might see something on the next bill, but
So this is solar
solar, yeah.
panels?
Solar,
You're a member of the solar farm,
yeah,
is that it?
solstice, yeah. It's not to our advantage.
No, you were going to be saving money by
Right.
ending this. Thank you for calling. I know that call was somewhat difficult. And catching it, you know, so,
Yeah, that bill, it's like, why is this so much higher than it's been?
Yeah.
And you look in the back, back of the bill, backside of the bill, so it shows the service fee.
Yeah, it was a huge amount.
yeah. Okay, so we have a motion, roll call please.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky, trustee Connor,
Aye.
trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye. And then we have some, project payments.
Yes, that came in, so the water line project invoices, fiscal advisors, $167, Barton and Lejudas, $1,755.19, Barton and Lejudas, $6,827.05, and TJ Fiacco, $129,889.41. We have to approve that invoice. Janet signs off on it, has to go to RD, and it'll be another 2 weeks before it gets paid. because it has to be reviewed and reviewed.
Okay.
But anyway, so the total of those invoices, $138,638.65.
May I have a motion to approve that payment?
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
trustee Connor,
Aye.
trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
We have one invoice that came in for Paris's excavating for the wastewater treatment plant project for $36,902.76.
May I have a motion to approve that payment?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any questions on that?
When is that project gonna be done?
Well,
When we run out of money.
well, I don't know, it's, the paving isn't done yet though, is it?
No, it's not, and we
So-
actually just got our, couple weeks ago, we finally just got our last grant money, which was $86,400, so, which will give us enough money with what we have to pay the rest of the invoices. So
Yeah.
this isn't the end of it.
So end of the summer, maybe.
Okay.
Getting there. All right, roll call.
Trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Malinsky,
Aye.
trustee Connor,
Aye.
trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye. Report from the superintendent. Mike handed out his report. As I mentioned in my report, the South Street water line's almost complete. A big day in that they hooked up the service lines for the plaza and senior housing. So the old main's shut down and out of service, so that's great progress. Then they'll be starting on Route 9 Main Street soon. I don't know if you have any questions on any of this that I could answer.
He didn't give you those two invoices?
He didn't give me those, he did not give them to me. He's not still here, is he?
Thank you.
Can you just peek around the
He
corner?
was quiet, I think he slept on the desk.
Oh, did he put it on the desk?
Is there a couple invoices?
From Peak?
Yeah, he's got stuff for you here.
Are those copies for everyone?
No, I don't think so.
I will have to wait until next month. Yeah, okay, he says he's gonna have to wait. All right, I guess we're gonna have to wait.
It has to do with the Main Street lift station.
It has to do with the lift station,
Yeah. One is the big pump, and the other is
the panel.
the panel with the auto dialer.
So I can tell you that, the quote for everything is, just over 66,000.
No, that's only one.
No, I mean everything meaning the pump and the panel, as opposed to the one that doesn't have everything, which is
Oh, I thought-
68,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Peak is the one that he said we should probably go with, but his note says I'll have to wait until next month.
But I just feel we just keep kicking this down the road with that Main Street lift station.
Yeah.
It's gotta be done. It's gotta be done sooner
It-
than later before
you know
something
what?
happens.
Maybe we'll have a special meeting, because I think, Juanita, you're right, but I don't want to approve this without having talked to him. So just keep in mind, over 66,000.
So this next section is gonna take quite a while.
This next section is going to take months.
Yeah, so the phone company's supposed to have their appreciation day coming up.
Yeah, it must be the same time as ours, which is the,
They're doing theirs on
10th.
Sunday, Susan had it on the calendar.
There's, I hope there's is the 11th.
So these will have the fourth listed.
We're doing ours on the 10th. Our Village Fest is usually the second
I know.
Saturday.
I'm just thinking that how everything being torn up during that time.
Yeah, we'll have to call the phone
And let them
company and let
know.
them know. I mean, I don't think they'll be down that far, but still there'll be plenty of traffic.
Yeah, I think just giving them a heads up. because
Okay.
So when's the phone company having theirs?
I don't know where it's out, but it says, I have August 4th on my calendar.
Which is a Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
Hmm. Someone had called me and told me it was gonna be the Monday after that for the whole week, but then nothing, I didn't hear anymore. Like a week-long
Huh.
series of
I
activities.
don't remember where I got the info,
Well, I'll put a question
but
mark
yeah,
there.
just, yeah, it's just letting them know
Okay.
personally. So ours, August 11th, that's Sunday,
Well,
10th,
we normally do the second Saturday.
we do.
Well, we'll put that into new business. Let's see, correspondence, there
None.
is none. New business, we actually talked about this briefly once in a while over the past year or two, and that's speed bumps. You know, we have a lot of speeding on all of the village streets, but in particular, Prospect is terrible. I'm sure Nikki can vouch for that, since it's the back door to go to Russell Point. Church Street is also bad, but let's just talk about Prospect. Mike has agreed that speed bumps might be a good idea, and he showed me this picture that I shared with you. He said there are others, he needs to look into it more, but he does think that it would slow down the traffic and it would be removable during the winter, so the plow is not going to hit it and tear it apart. Maybe need two, you know, one further up and one further down. How do you all feel about it?
Anything that we can do to help reduce speeding on that street would be great, because I don't ever see anybody being pulled over for speeding, and I'm out on the roads a lot, and I never see anyone being pulled
Yeah,
over, so
despite the fact that we do write letters to law
Uh-huh.
enforcement and ask them.
nothing happens.
No,
So,
it's been a long time.
It's seen it the other place.
So you all feel that it's something we should definitely pursue? I mean, looks like it's maybe $1,500 for one set,
So it'd be 3,000,
yeah.
I am not against it, not at all. I think we need to do something, we've had a lot of complaints, especially on Prospect. I know there is other streets, even on my street, you know, it's not a well or traveled street, people still speed. But, I mean, Prospect is probably one of the worst streets in the village. And maybe the people will get the idea, hey, you know, we can't speed like this. I mean, not only they're gonna have to slow down, it's something that needs to be done.
I completely agree.
Where
I've been
we-
in favor of these for a number of years. It's, you know, I don't
Where we
exactly
get the
know how they
money,
attach. I
it's
don't know
hard to
exactly
say.
where the money would come from, but I'm sure we can find it. All right, so I'll ask Mike to do some further research, and we'll get back to this sooner than later. Okay, thank you. Well, maybe under new business, I should bring up the Village Fest. So that's, we say Village Fest, it's basically our ice cream social. It is a pretty popular event. I believe it was normally the second Saturday. That's kind of what I was thinking, which is August 10th. I don't know how the board feels on that date, though.
I'm open.
Is it good?
Well, I mean, if the phone company's having a different day, I don't know if we should try and coordinate things with this, the same day. We usually do. But,
Well, they've changed what they're
yeah, I know they have it
Yeah,
every
they
other
don't
year.
do that, yeah, they don't do that same kind of
doing. Yeah.
cookout thing, and
We still have the hot dogs, hamburgers. But, or they did, I don't know.
Well, would you like me to contact them tomorrow and see what they're doing? I mean, we don't have to do it on the same time, but it does bring a crowd in, so we can take advantage of more people
Right.
being here. I'm happy to call them tomorrow and find out. Okay, then I'll let you know.
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, I will do that. All right, old business, we have the text my gov. You had asked Mary, or you had asked us to look into some local comments about text my gov, and thanks to Mary making some phone calls, she has some information for you about other experiences.
I think the first question that was asked, or one of the questions was asked, if it was gonna cost extra for people to have this. It's not gonna cost any more than it would normally cost you for a text to and from. If you have per text cost, it's gonna cost that, but if you have unlimited, it's gonna be no different. So that wouldn't be any different. I did contact 3 different municipalities that are using it. Weedsport, New York, which is near Buffalo, Richfield Springs, and Dannemora. And they all agreed that it was a good way to get alerts out to their residents, anything like emergency, important information, it got to them quickly. And, it was an easy way to do that, especially with the larger some of those have larger outstanding areas than maybe we do. And they had good service from Text My Gov. They were helpful in getting information out to the community, getting people to sign up, publicizing it a lot, and they were very good with their service once they got the program set up, and they were very responsive. If you had any questions or problems, they were trained very well on how to make it work and how it would work, and very quick responses if you had any questions or problems with it. But they all have the similar concerns with how many people would be using it, because they all have about the same size municipality as ours, maybe a little bit bigger, with a larger, older population that doesn't use their phones for that type of thing as much. And that was one of the things that they said that they wish they had more people that would be using it to make it, worth the money they were spending to do this.
Did they have numbers as to how many people were actually signed up versus their population?
There was one, I think it was Dannemora, that she said that, they have 1,200 or something, close to ours, and they had 40 people that were signed up.
Oh.
The other ones didn't have a specific number, so they
Okay.
didn't say that.
Yeah, Dannemora would have been the one that I would have said
Yeah.
would be the
Right.
outlier, because the
Yeah.
prison, so obviously,
Right.
and if they had 40, yeah, I don't know.
That's my big concern, is that
Yeah.
Well, I was, I
People-
mean, yeah, sorry.
people aren't
People
going
aren't gonna
to
sign up.
use
No,
it, they're
yeah.
just not going to sign up.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's yearly,
And then you
like
still have to-
1,500 a year.
And then you still
Well,
have to
more
send
than
those notices
3,000
out.
the first
3,000
year,
Right,
the
they
first
shouldn't this way, you
Year-
still have to
year
put
after
an official
that.
notice.
I'd rather
Right.
have speed bumps.
Let's,
In
yeah,
addition.
let's,
Because you look at a lot of the older people, they don't have cell phones. I mean,
And if they do, they're not
They're not.
signing up for.
They're not using
they're
it.
using it for phone calls, that's it.
yeah, they don't text.
No.
Or if they get a text, they don't know how to retrieve it.
Right.
They're not gonna sign up for this, all this extra stuff just can be confusing.
Right.
is what it is.
Then I am going to say, hopefully, that with this water line replacement project, we won't have as many announcements about boil water.
That's
Right.
exactly what I was
Right.
gonna say.
Yeah.
How often are you gonna use it now that we're working on the problem?
Yes.
That was my concern before, that's why I wanted numbers, was because of the cost of it. I mean, if we had a huge population and say half of the people signed up, okay, well,
Yeah,
that would make sense, but I fear we'd be like Dannemora, and that we'd be lucky to get 40 people.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Does everyone agree? We'll
Yeah,
pass
I
on
think-
this opportunity?
yeah,
All right,
thank you, Mary.
yeah, thanks.
Yes,
Mary.
thanks for doing the research.
Any other old business? Or any business?
Yes, I will resend the EDU report, because I missed taking out the word increased, it should be decreased,
Oh,
so I will resend that
okay, that's
tonight or tomorrow morning.
all right, yeah, all right, thanks. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thanks, everyone.